My name is Bethany and this is my 307 SEM Vodcast. The organisation I will be discussing is the Wasps Rugby Club. About the Wasps. The Wasps Rugby Club was founded as an administrative body in 1867 and Mr James Payne was elected the club's first ever president. In 1923, the Wasps moved from its original home to Sudbury, which many fans still consider the spiritual home of the club. The club was renamed London Wasps in 1999 in order for there to be a differentiation between the amateur side of the club. In 2002, the club made another move to Adams Park in High Wycombe. The original contract was 2 years, however the club was so successful that they outstayed their contract. The average attendance at Adams Park was 5,000. In 2014, the Wasps made a huge move to Ricoh Arena in Coventry and confirmed the purchase of 100% of the arena. It can hold up to 32,000 spectators and the club shares its home with Coventry Football Club. The move came with protests from London-based fans, however it was considered to be vital for long-term financial stability. The club currently play in the Premiership and have several big-name sponsors such as Jaguar Land Rover. Financially, the club is improving, however they are currently looking to refinance the bond scheme it launched in 2015 with investors. There are several areas of management that sport organisations can look into to manage performance and factors that may affect this. Topics can be looked into are control, change, structure, conflict, culture and performance management. I have chosen to focus on structure and change. Structure. A vital part of an organisation is its structure. Byers, Slack and Parent describe this as a vital concept within organisation theory and for understanding how organisations operate. Without a solid structure, an organisation may face lack of communication between employees and the deterioration of productivity. This can cause further long-term issues. There are 3 types of structures an organisation can use: horizontal, vertical and spatial. When looking into the Wasps and their organisational structure, we can note that the club has horizontal differentiation. This is because the club has a high number of management that can be split into different departments. For example, marketing, finance and HR. This style refers to departmentalisation. This describes an organisation such as the Wasps that sees a breakdown of areas into product or service and function. Having horizontal differentiation allows the club to delegate tasks that are specialised to employees. Harper explains that there are advantages and disadvantages to this. On one hand, employees can become specialised in that particular role and therefore perform those tasks with greater skill, quality and reliability. For example, Di Young, coach and director of the playing squad, will be able to solely focus on squad performance, fitness, training and not other departments such as marketing. This means he can perfect his role as coach and create strong relationships with players and the employees who report to him. In the long term, this will benefit the Wasps greatly as it means Di will be reliable and have a huge amount of experience to build on in the future. However, this type of structure can also cause issues with control and coordination between departments. Each department director will have a high level of responsibility to achieve goals and objectives, but also will have a lack of control over all employees. This lack of control can cause communication issues. For example, the Wasps are currently looking to refinance its £35 million bond scheme as it isn't making enough money to pay back it in time for the agreed date of 2022. This means that the finance director, John Parker, will have a huge responsibility when it comes down to refinancing the scheme, as this would be his issue to deal with. To resolve such potential issues, communication will have to be effective between the finance director, the CEO, to ensure all areas of the refinance issue have been covered and that every party involved is happy with the final decision going forward. Change. Byers, Slack and Parent describe this as a process of becoming different. Change can refer to people, structures, technologies or organisational process. It can either be deliberate or reactive in response to environmental pressure. There are 4 types of strategic change that can occur as explained by Balogun, Hope Haley and Gustafsson. These 4 changes are adaptation, reconstruction, evolution and revolution and are all defined in 2 terms: the end result of change and the nature of change. The end result is about the extent of change that is wanted. The nature of change is how the change is implemented. By looking at these 2 dimensions, the type of strategic change can be found. The change that we will look at for the Wasps Rugby Club is the move the club made in 2014 from Adams Park to Ricoh Arena. This change would be described as revolution, as it was in reaction to external competition from other Premiership clubs and an internal need for better financial stability. The move was described as a break from how rugby clubs operate because as a huge change of culture can occur within fans. For example, the majority of fans protested against the move because it would no longer be anywhere near the origins of the club. This move created an overhaul of culture, finance and long-term visions for the club and therefore represents a revolution in strategic change. Here we can see how Cotter's 8-stage process for change can help us look into how the change and move to Coventry occurred within the organisation. For change to happen, everyone within the Wasps Rugby Club would have to agree to the move. A sense of urgency would have to be created for everyone to gain motivation for the move to Coventry. Communicating that the change was necessary for the club's success in both on-pitch performance and in a business would then be the next step. For example, a strong sense of leadership from Derek Richardson and the presidents and chairman had to be in place in order for employees further down the organisational structure to understand why the changes were necessary. A vision for change will have been created throughout all areas of the club. For example, developing strategy on how the move would happen, a vision for the club and will gain, and how people will be effective. The key area to change is being able to communicate the change and vision effectively. The huge aspect of communicating the move was the fans' response. When the club announced the move, the majority of London-based fans expressed that they were unhappy. David Armstrong explained in Kennedy's article that the club undertook a lengthy engagement process with the fans, providing a rationale and the long-term financial benefits. Even though the first 4 stages of change can empower employees, obstacles such as formal structures within an organisation can weaken this. This means investment into employee training and development is needed to ensure barriers can be overcome easily and effectively. It is important for organisations to achieve short-term wins as well as long-term to silence critics and continue the motivational process. For example, the Wasps announced the full purchase of Ricoh Arena in November 2014. Cotter argues that many organisations fail because they announce victory if they change too quickly. In order for change to be effective, the Wasps should have and still need to set long-term goals and constantly bring in new ideas on to improve the change. An example of this is the Wasps recently announcing Empower as their new energy supplier and provider. Finally, to make the move to Ricoh a successful change, it has to be part of the core corporate culture. This means ingraining the new culture on the move within everyday work, but also externally in stakeholders such as fans. This is something that the club is still working towards as the move is still recent. Many fans have to make a 100-mile journey up to the stadium for home games and will still need convincing that the move is worthwhile for the long-term success of the club. Recommendations. To conclude this presentation on the management of Wasps Rugby Club, I have provided some recommendations on how to improve on the 2 main issues discussed, the organisational structure used and the move they made to Coventry. I would first suggest that the organisational structure used within the club works effectively in relation to the type of organisation and industry it is in. However, there should be a proactive focus on ensuring all employees are provided with training and development to ensure they understand how to communicate and what methods are best for different situations. My second suggestion would be to create a contingency plan. Batchelor states that low likelihood, high impact risks require contingency plans. The move to Coventry was a big financial risk. With the club now looking to refinance the bonds, a contingency plan should have been created prior to this. It is common knowledge that rugby clubs of this size usually find themselves in a situation of refinancing, and so this knowledge should have been used to full effect to aid the process.